So yeah, massive welcome to everyone. And yeah, it's another Mobble webinar. So what we'll be doing today is a Mobble demo, quick 5 to 10 minutes. I know there's some people here that have used Mobble before and some people that haven't, so I'll do a bit of a general demo. And then I'll get into some more interesting parts of Mobble, which you may not have seen or may want to learn more about, and some things we've been working on and new releases and stuff like that too. Um, if you have any questions during the demo, feel free to just chuck it in the chat and Sam will interrupt me and say, Jock, there's a question from so-and-so about this, and I'll get to it straight away. And then we'll just open up for general Q&A. So at the end, you can ask as many questions as you like. You can at the end you can go off mute. You can turn your camera on if you like. Ask the questions in person or in real time, and we'll just have more of a chat. But we're basically just here to help you guys out, get the most out of Mobble, and hopefully it's beneficial for you guys. So we'll get stuck into it. All right, I'm just going to share my screen. All right, amazing. So this is my parents' family farm. So we're Brantwood, which is near Seymour in Victoria, Avenel in Victoria. And we run sheep and cattle, a little bit of crop as well. And I'm going to take you through this property as it's a live property, and my parents are more than happy for us to use that. Um, and yeah, we'll go through the map and different things. And I'm just trying to just get an idea. It's the geographic breakdown. We've got people from New South Wales, Queensland, WA, New Zealand, Victoria. Yeah, okay. So we'll keep it sort of sheep and cattle focused through the recording. Um, and yeah, so kick things off, general demo. So Mobble is best used on the map. You can also view by the mobs list and the paddocks list, but the map's the most interactive. So I'll sort of stick for there for the time being. We have two apps. One, the web application, which is what I'm showing you right now, which is on the computer. It has more reports, dashboards like this. And we also have the mobile app as well, which can be used offline out in the paddock, and it's the one that most modelers use day to day. So I will show you the web application, but note that it works very similar. There's just a few extra reports in the web app. So most things I tell you in the web app, you'll be able to do in the mobile app as well. Um, all right, so we're recording things in Mobble, on mobs or livestock and paddocks, and on the whole property in general. So on the mobs themselves, we're moving mobs around paddocks, picking them up, dropping and dragging them, which is nice and quick. We can record a bunch of things, so we can record natural increases of mobs, your lambs and your calves. You can record your sales, your purchases, and your casualties on mobs as well for compliance. If you select a mob and select it again, so we've got two different classes of views in this particular paddock. You can do a bunch of different things to them. Edit mob numbers, add mob actions. The mob action is all your animal health treatments. It's also your feed treatments, say if you're feeding out grain or hay. And you can link those to products back in our inventory, which is all live as well, so you can track usage over time. Report casualties, sale mob as well. Now, when you select a paddock, you get some different information on general information on sort of stocking units. You can choose any stocking unit you want. You can have DSC, LSU, AU. You can change all that in the settings. Days grazed, and stuff like that too. And I'm going to go with a better example. And in a paddock, if you go to paddock info, you'll get some more information. Complete history of the paddock, every single mob that's moved in and out, any treatments on the paddock. So you can add paddock sprays, fertilizer records in here. And when you do that, it's mostly all by selecting the paddock itself or by the big plus button within the paddock or within the mob, for example. So add paddock action, spray records, fertilizer records, and that sort of stuff. So, and yeah, there's the livestock in that paddock. One of the cool things, if you're doing some more intensive grazing or you're interested in grazing pressures within Mobble, we do track what's in each paddock over time. So here you can see there's been some sheep and cattle in this paddock, and we can change it to a stocking unit and see how hard this paddock is being grazed over 2024. And this red line is actually the stocking rate average over a 12-month rolling average. And that sort of shows you the performance or how hard your paddock has been grazed over 12 months. And you can easily compare which paddocks have been grazed harder by going to the paddocks list here. Um, and ordering the average DC per hectare, and you'll be able to see which paddocks are forming or performing the best or being grazed the hardest that way. So it's just interesting little bit of data there. You can also order your paddocks on your phone or the web app as well, any way you like. You can also order them in days grazed. You can see my parents are very set stocking, so there's lots of big days grazed there, or days rested as well. So you can make some grazing management decisions there. Um, Now we're recording a lot of information on compliance. So especially around your animal health compliance. So these little red dots up here will mean these stock are in withhold. So I select these Murray Grey, probably steers, and they got a red dot up here. And I can select more information. View mob, you've got a complete mob history here. Same on the mobile phone as well. Um, you see treatments and stuff here, and I can see that these cattle were drenched back on the second, so just a few couple of days ago. Then I can select that and see exactly what product was used, who drenched it, my brother Max, and information like that too. And then we've got summaries on all those too. So in that summaries section, you'll be able to get, excuse me, summaries of all those mob actions, all those treatments as well. So you can easily show that to the auditor. You don't need to print anything out. You can just show the auditor this information. They love that you're using Mobble or a system like it because you're doing better than most in this sort of compliance world and recording that information. So just showing that they use this app will be a big tick in their books. Um, yeah, so that's sort of compliance. And I will go down. So on the map, there's a bunch of different things you can do. So I've sort of covered a bit of livestock record keeping, paddock record keeping. You can map out nearly anything in the paddock in Mobble, and you can map out pipelines. You can map out silos. So my brother here has put in the north silo. He's put 34 ton of barley in there mid last year. I'm sure that's probably gone by now. Pretty dry at our place. Lots of feeding going happening. You can also add in tasks as well. So someone spotted a bit of horehound weed out in the paddock, and they've added that task in there, just as a reminder as they're driving past to spray that when they get a chance. And you can do all that adding of farm assets or tasks via this plus button here, and it's really easy just to zoom in. Another benefit is if you're, say, offline out in the paddock and you want to map, say, a boar location, you can map this out offline, and you zoom in on your GPS location. It'll work. The GPS location works offline, which is really cool. And you zoom in on your location. Let's just pretend it's here, and you'll still be able to map, say, a boar on your location if it doesn't come up clearly in the imagery. Um, and then you can just add that asset and add notes on that asset as well. So awesome for new employees, contractors, and that sort of thing as well. It's worth noting that you can add contractors to the map. So if you've got fencing contractors coming in, or you've got, say, helicopter contractors coming in for mustering on bigger properties, you can add them into the map via the settings. We've got this thing called Mobble Connect, and you can add in contractors here. You can also add in a bunch of other people like accountants, farm advisor. You can add your contractor here, and they just get a view of the map and see where they are, and they can see tasks assigned to them. Worth noting, the accountant's a good one too. They get a view of the livestock reconciliation report. So that's really, just quick access for them to get that report instead of just contacting you and traveling through records and not being able to get that records to them in time. So it makes it really efficient. Farm advisor view, if you've got an agronomist or a livestock advisor that you want access to Mobble as well, so they have a more comprehensive view to help you out. You can add all your task lists in the Mobble and assign people. If you make a task on a due date, it'll alert them by notification on their phone, and it'll alert them when the task is created and assigned to them as well. Property chat, pretty useful if you just need to say, oh, we're low on stock in some sort of chemical. Next person to go into town, can you grab some? So it's a central place for that. Inventories. So we've had some pretty big updates in inventories recently. So you can put your feed and grain and stuff in here as well, and it'll tell you the usage. I don't think my parents really use um, this part of the app very well, but you can see the usage over say a 12-month period and who's been applied to it and what application it was done for and stuff like that. So pretty powerful. And yeah, same with animal health inventories or those sort of things too. So you'll be able to see over the last 12 months or any time period how much 5-in-1 we've used, which is pretty crazy when you just add it up. So you can see all that data there too. And yeah, I mean, this has gone negative for my family because they don't use this properly, but it should give you a live total of what's left in the inventory as well. And that's editable too. So if you just built some, you can just edit the number. So that's all good. And so every time you apply the chemical, say you buy a mob action to a mob or to a paddock, it'll automatically deduct. So that's the way that works. You have all your rainfall in here. It's a bit of sticky beak. Yeah, so been pretty dry at home last few months. Yeah, just bit dribs and drabs coming through, but we can give you here, we can give you average of rainfall across different months. Um, and yeah, yeah, how it's sort of looking there. So you can add multiple rain gauges there, which is very handy. And one of the last things I'll take you through on a general sense is reports. So you have a full livestock reconciliation report here. So this is the last 12 months. You can have multiple properties selected if necessary. Um, and yeah, it shows you a big graph here of the change in livestock numbers. So yeah, and it'll give you a full breakdown all the way down to the classes as well. So if you've got classes on your livestock, classes are really powerful for further tracking, or even age groups as well, which we mainly have mixed age mobs. Yeah, so that's pretty powerful. Worth having a look at if you haven't yet. Um, yeah, and that's sort of the report you'll need end of financial year. We've improved some, so just some things we've improved recently. On the map, we have more satellite providers now. So we used to only have one, and now we have four. Google is the latest, and it is generally the most up-to-date imagery. So if you're having problems with the imagery or your imagery is not very up-to-date, try all four options. Maybe try Google first if it's not Google first, and you should be able to find at least one provider that's got, imagery within the last year, few months, or so for your mapping, and stuff like that. So I can already see here there's infrastructure that's been put in this place, recently, especially to do with this bit of irrigation here, in the last year or so. So, yeah, have a flick around and find the most updated imagery for you to help with mapping. And another thing we're doing as well in the reports, we've got financial years in the reports as well. So you can select last financial or current financial year to quickly grab that data, and how you're tracking for the financial year. And that's going to come along to all our reports too. So this is unreleased Mobble, but all our other summaries like mob actions, purchases, and all these other summaries here, you'll be able to filter for, say, current financial year, last financial year, and stuff like that as well. This is just mock data, by the way. It's not real. And yeah, and we've also made an applied total line there as well to help with understanding how much got applied to a certain type, which you can filter further here as well. Click through and you can see what that action was. Someone's requested around comments on mobs. So the catch all, if you're recording information on livestock, so I've got these Angus bulls here. I'll go back to the real property because that's fake data. Go to an actual, here's one Angus bull, history of this bull. But if you want to create comments on a mob, the best way to do that is via a mob action. In the future, we might have a notes section, but at the moment, it's via a mob action. And you can create a custom type here, and you can create a custom type called You add it in the bottom. You could call it comments. And then at least you'll have a history of all your comments on that mob. So that was something that was requested to talk about there as well. Yeah. Um, and that's kind of most things I wanted to cover. Is there anything else that I should be covering there, Sam?
Jock, I have had a question back on the inventories
Yeah.
around the best and easiest way to keep track of batch numbers, particularly with vaccinations.
Yeah. Yeah, great question. So we made some changes the last maybe 6 months ago around the inventories to try and make this easier, but I do know there's a few teething issues with it. Just with yeah, the change and how we can do it better. So the way we do that, so we have in the inventory is actually this is a product list. So this first page is a product list, and then within each product we have batches, and those batches will contain your batch numbers. So if I've got some say new 5-in-1 coming in, I don't add a new inventory item. I actually just go into my 5-in-1 that I already got here. I select it, and there's a few different things I can do. I can view the item, or I can add a batch to it, or add a quantity. Now, I'll add a batch to it, and you can put your batch ID in here. Quantity, say you bought a big batch of 4 liters. And then you can put the further information. This is more for compliance here. It's all from our end, it's optional. You don't have to put all this information in. You can even just leave batch empty if you like, just like NA for the time being, if you wanted to edit it later. So you can edit it later if you don't have all the information straight away. And then, yeah, you just add new batch and that'll be added here. So let's just pretend this you can mark old ones as finished as well. The app will also prompt you to mark batches as finished when they get below 0. Um, so yeah, there's also that sort of catch as well. And it'll update the quantity in that inventory, which is still negative for this one. But yeah, you'll understand what I mean. It should be positive. I'll edit it. Say it's 4 liters positive, like so. Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. And then you're sort of managing your batches within that inventory item. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I do have another question, and it's around a feature we actually use quite often on our farm, and it's around the open gate function between paddocks. Some people find that quite useful when mobs are between two paddocks. If you
Yeah.
want to talk through that process.
Thanks, Sam. Yeah, no, great question. So, I'm really sorry about the name of this paddock. This is yeah, but we call it the shit farm because this is the treatment plant. But it's an example I have on the place. So these paddocks here are all open with each other. Gates are all open, and they're highlighted by this line here. And to open a gate in a paddock, let's open a new gate. So say we're opening between number 4 and number 3 lucerne here. We select that paddock, select the paddock again, open gates, and just in this drop down, it will order it to closest paddocks. And go number 3 lucerne. Let's open a few of the lucerne paddocks up together. Um, yeah, and open gates. Oop, we go back to the map and we'll see that I've opened the gates up with all these loose sand paddocks here. So the livestock will flow between them. Um, so what happens with the livestock reporting here is the app will kind of it'll do some calculations and sort of work out what it thinks how many livestock are in each paddock and tell you the reports in there. So if I click on shit farm lawn, um, it'll tell me it thinks there's about 307 head in this paddock, and this one 236, and this one 164. It sort of splits it across the area ratios. The reason for that is like gives us better long-term reporting of like how heavily stocked those paddocks were over time. So it does a few couple of little smart things there. To close a gate, pretty simple. Hit the paddocks that you want to close gates with, manage open gates, big close all gates button, and they will all be closed up again. Yep. Yep.
Awesome. Are there any other questions from anyone else on the call? You can feel free to pop the questions in the chat or come off mute if you'd prefer.
I'll keep going and I'll wait for questions. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to cut me off. But there's a couple of nice things for people that want to customize things further in Mobble. Um, let's go to a more Queensland looking farm. So yeah, let's say we're running Brahman and Angus cattle on this farm, and we don't want to see all the other breeds and stuff of those cattle in when we're adding mobs in and stuff like that. So we can actually go to classes, types, and tags here. We can go to cattle breeds, and we can start deleting all the ones we don't use. So all these breeds here we don't use, we can delete them. And if you've got a cross, say it's like a Brangus or something like that, you can add in those breeds, those custom breeds as well. So you can really customize a lot of Mobile. This is just one example of a lot of the data fields. Yeah, but you can really customize it for your operation. So you can go through here and delete all those. Um, and it goes a bit further than that. You can do genders as well if you want to change it up, have hoggets and stuff in there too. And your classes as well. I will note that classes are really powerful. I'll put this in, I'll change the view to mobile view. Now I'm going to go back to the property I know best, which is my parents. And so we use classes pretty well. Um, at my parents' farm. So we have a top line and a bottom line of use, for example. So we've got seconds, and we've got firsts, and it's pretty great. So you can filter and see, where all my in class any way you want. It could be heavies, lights, wets, dries, all those sort of things there as well. So I can filter for my seconds, for example, and I just want to see seconds use sheet, and then it'll just bring them all up, and it'll even give me a total up the top. We've got 2,400 on this property of second use um, as well, and that all comes through reporting as well. So yeah, we snapshot the property every single evening. Um, and yeah, those classes, and you can edit your classes, custom classes, really powerful for that sort of like, say if you wanted to name the mob, classes is the way to do it. So you make a custom class to help you identify which mobs are which. And it
Jock, do you
makes
want
it,
to just
yeah.
show how we add classes and breeds as well after we go through this to
Yeah,
that
sure.
point?
So yeah, no worries. So most people will do this, adding in breeds and classes like through editing a mob or adding a mob. So when you're adding a mob, it's a big plus button here. You can add a mob here. When editing a mob, select the mob, edit the mob here. And yeah, most things we're changing is say, maybe do we change a count? I won't do that because that's live data. And classes here, it's actually not built for this. Well, I'm in mobile view on the computer, so not built for it. But to add a new class type in, it's really simple. So I'm going to add in, say, heavies. So you just go to the classes selector here, and the option isn't there. So I'm going to say heavies. I'm going to add that in, and that should have been added seconds, their view, heavies, and then you can update that mob. So that's how you add them in. And it's the same with breeds and stuff like that too. You can actually do it through the form. So that's just worth noting as well. Um, yeah, while I'm sort of talking about customization, another cool thing you can do, say if you've got cattle on the place and you've got different ear tag colors for each cattle age group. You can change the ear tag colors on in Mobble as well by going into cattle tags and changing the color to what year that you've got on your cattle, and then it'll show up on the map and it'll be more visual of what group of cattle that is by their age. So that's useful. That's there too. Yeah, so that's what I got so far. Any other questions there, Sam?
A question did just come through from Liam asking, can you delete classes?
G'day, Liam. Yeah, you can delete classes. I think you guys are catching up with Amy next week, which would be great. Yeah, so oh, that's not the one. So you can go and delete classes. So sometimes you end up making a heap of classes and they're not relevant anymore, and that's very common. But same process. We can go into cattle classes here, and yeah, I can see that my parents have put in a bunch of stuff that I probably don't use anymore as well. So you go into your settings, classes, types, and tags, cattle classes, and you can delete the ones that are no longer necessary, like this one. So they'll still be associated to the mob until the mob is edited. So they won't delete off the mob. So it's kind of like archived, not deleted in a sense. But yeah, and then it'll take it off the class list the next time you're adding in mobs. It's a good way to to refresh that every now and then because if you've got multiple people adding in data, you don't want them adding in, different classes that are almost the same. Like this one, for example, I'm pretty much certain that bar and Barson are the same class. For some people are adding in bar, some people are adding in Barson, but you don't want that because then the reporting will be a bit warped. So you want to make sure everyone's adding in the same classes and it's all consolidated across the property or properties even if you've got multiple to help with the reporting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's how you do that. Worth noting that if you're running a farm with multiple users and you just want a quick update what's happening on farm, you can always go to this top right event log, and it'll give you literally any record that's been created in Mobble. It'll tell you what's happened. So you can see I've made a few edits recently. If we scroll down a bit, we can see the real work. So my brother's, editing mobs, drenching mobs, and adding in adding in batches, chemicals, and stuff like that. Sale records and everything like that too. So yeah, it's a good way to have a look what's going on by that event log on that farm. Yeah. All right. I think I've covered everything I want to cover. Things that we're working at the moment, we've sort of got a bit of capacity to build some more just user experience features into Mobile, make it a bit more easy to use. I know we're looking into reporting around moving livestock between properties and understanding which livestock are going where. So some reporting around that. I'm pretty sure the Gibsons you just had that question, would be interested in that. Um, and yeah, we're also working on integrations and stuff like that too. But any feedback, let us know. We're all ears. You can email us or call us. Just go to our website and find out details. But it's hello@mobble.io, where you can help. For people that haven't tried Mobble yet, our website, mobble.io, head there, get all the information, extra information you need. There's a big sign up button at the top, which will take you through to a free trial. It's free 21 days to give it a bit of a crack. And you can sort of take it from there. Our incredible customer support. So Sam leads the customer support team here, and they're amazing. They're very knowledgeable in the mobile product, in farming as well. So you can just call them at any time, and they'll call you during the trial to make sure it's all getting set up and that you have any questions they're answered and stuff like that. Always on call. So feel free to you go up here and use that number whenever you need, or save it to your phone. And a great way to do it is just via text as well. We'll go back to texts when we can as well. So yeah, really highlight that customer support because it's really good. Um, Other than that, I think I'll sort of leave it there. I just want to thank everyone for coming along. Um, and I hope that was useful. If you have any questions, feel free to email us, call us. And we've got a few events coming up as well. I'm flying off to New Zealand tomorrow, for example, going to Wanaka Field Days. And yeah, well, we've got the things like the Australian Sheep and Wool Show. We're going up to Roma later in the year. We've also one last call to action would be we've got a Queensland tour happening. It starts in Rocky, ends up out in Winton and South. We got that happening from the 21st to 28th of March this month. If you're interested for a drop-in, yeah, please let us know because we have a bit of time and capacity to drop into a few more farms. Cheers. All right. Thanks, everyone.